Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and in today's video I want to kind of go over a call I made around the 10th of November, on the 10th of November, and I was kind of talking about how I think that was the beginning of the bull market. So I'm going to just show you a couple of things that are interesting about that video and where we are today. I want to show you some Bitcoin adoption stuff that's going on behind the scenes and a bit of charts and go over some positions I'm holding. So in the meantime, slap a like on the video and let's get into this. Look, first of all, I posted this video here, inflation tops, Dixie and yields breakdown, melt up has started. And I posted this, it says a month ago, but if you hover over this, you will see that it was actually posted on November the 10th. So in this video, I pointed out that inflation was coming down. Since then, the money supply growth has absolutely fallen off a cliff, and we have seen 6 or 7 months of consecutive lower CPI prints. So pretty safe to say inflation has come off. In this video, I was also talking about the dollar coming down, potentially to touch this upward sloping blue trend line. And since then, we have indeed been seeing that. I think it's safe to say we're not going to hit this target now, but potentially we could move the goalpost to something like this and expect a bounce off of this trend line, a counter trend move off of this trend line. That would make sense. We know some sort of counter trend bounce is due, especially given the amount of drawdown we've had in the dollar. But technically speaking, it would make sense to first touch this support line that goes all the way back here before something like that happens. I was also talking about yields coming off in this video, and indeed, yields have come off massively since then. We did get this kind of counter trend bounce, which seems to be rejected and beginning to roll over. It's too early to tell yet, but if this continues to roll over, if this morphs into a look like this, then expect risk to come on massively for 2023. Finally, in this video, I was talking about this low made here on the 9th and the green candle being the 10th, potentially forming the ultimate bear market low, the ultimate 4-year cycle low for Bitcoin. I got a call wrong because I said that I didn't think we would violate those lows. I thought these lows would be the ultimate low of the bear market, and we basically put in a couple of consolidation cycles and then go. But once we got down here and I saw this, I said that most probably we were going to be calling this the ultimate cycle low. And this is apparently what is going on. Now, that does not mean we couldn't undercut this low over the coming days. But what's really interesting about this, was this thumbnail potentially not actually clickbait? Was this thumbnail quite correct? The bull market has started, I said, plus a stock market melt upcoming. So whilst it doesn't feel like that at the moment, if we do not violate those lows, then it is most likely that we will be saying goodbye to a bear market for Bitcoin. It is most likely that we can call these the ultimate cycle lows for Bitcoin. And I think even in the worst case scenario, we will get one final dip down. How low that forms is anyone's guess. I only predict time, as you know. But assuming we do get one final dip, I really do believe that will be the end to the bear market. There's one final question remaining, and that is, what if we don't get a nice dip down into this cycle low? My strategy is going to be to buy a breakout above this blue horizontal line. The long position will look something like this, maybe with a tighter stop because we won't need it so wide. And that is how I will be looking to play the start of this next bull market for Bitcoin. So we're about to find out, was this really correct? Was that the actual start of the bull market back here? Well, don't take my word for it. This is Bob Lucas, okay, the king of cycles, the author of the 4-year Bitcoin cycle. In his opinion, if Bitcoin can hold this current range through the 10th of January and then trade above 17K, there's a very strong chance the bear market lows are in. So what would that look like? That would look like this. That would look like holding this current range between the blue and the white line into the 10th of January, which is Tuesday of next week. So we're talking just a few days away now. And then trade above 17K. Something like this, if we can hold this range into Tuesday and then trade above 17K, very good chance, even if it's not that steep, by the way, it could easily look something like this. So, but if that is the case, then there's a very good chance, according to both me and Bob Lucas, that that is indeed the 4-year cycle low. We have seen everything we're going to see in terms of bearishness, and it is now time to start coming out of here and entering a new cycle for Bitcoin. These are incredibly exciting times. Peter Schiff doesn't hesitate to come out and say, look, gold is already up $15, trading above 1840. This is a big move for early on a Monday. Of course, this was posted yesterday. It's even more significant given that the first day of trading of a new year, gold looks poised to start 2023 with some fireworks on his own. Bitcoin is a dud, he says. So I can't, why do we have to do this, Peter? Why? He knows as well as I know and as well as you know, okay? There's no need for tribalism. I understand he's got a conflict of interest. I understand that he owns a big gold bullion dealership and he doesn't want to lose customers to Bitcoin. But there's nothing wrong with holding both, okay? And I get equally frustrated with Bitcoiners that say, sell gold, sell all your gold and buy Bitcoin. Why can't you hold gold, silver, and Bitcoin? What's the problem with that? Like, why do you have to pick a team? Why do you need a team? Is your character that weak that you need to be tribal about this stuff? Come on, guys. They're both going to do well. They both got their places. Let's quickly hop into a gold chart. As you can see here, not the kind of thing you don't want to be a part of. Go to a weekly chart and we are likely leaving behind a massive 12 or 13 year long cup and handle pattern, looking to repeat this sort of bull run that we saw coming back all the way through the early 2000s. Again, it is likely we're going to hit 5-figure gold over the next 8 years. I'm convinced of that. So don't miss out on this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, okay? Bitcoin, gold, silver, they're all great as long as you actually own them, okay? Physical gold, physical silver, and physical Bitcoin on a cold wallet. So there are certainly some exciting times. The fundamentals for Bitcoin continue to improve. I do this every day nearly, and every day I find more and more stuff like this, okay? 1,000 pharmacies in Ukraine have enabled Bitcoin and crypto payments. This is adoption, and we continue to see continued adoption. Also, the first Lightning-enabled Bitcoin ATM has been installed in Australia. Do you see the pattern that continues to emerge on this channel and continues to operate behind the scenes of Bitcoin? Hong Kong is allowing retail investors to trade Bitcoin and crypto as of the 1st of June. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The money is coming into this space. We are leaving behind this bear market cycle. Over 45,000 companies have bought Bitcoin and crypto in Brazil. This thing is truly global and is building momentum by the day. Over in Argentina, their leading presidential candidate is pro-Bitcoin. He says it prevents politicians from robbing you through inflation. This is 100% true. This is fully accurate. We are only around 470 days away from Bitcoin's halving, when the inflation rate will be cut in half once more. Remember, there's a hard cap supply of 21 million Bitcoin, and around 17 million Bitcoin is the real world number, because 3 million Bitcoin have been lost forever and Satoshi has 1 million, which he can't move without revealing his identity. Speaking of Argentina, the presidential candidate says that Bitcoin is a natural reaction against the scam of central banking. Many people have worked this out. If you're a Bitcoiner, even if you're a gold bug, okay, you probably hold gold and silver because you have a distrust of central banks. And particularly if you're into Bitcoin, you also likely hold Bitcoin because you have a distrust of central banks. The two go hand in hand because indeed Bitcoin is a natural reaction to the scam of central banking. As more and more people figure this out, more and more money is going to leave the system and exit to Bitcoin, particularly when they are faced with CBDCs and the rollout of the tyranny that comes with them. This is the RSI for Bitcoin. As you can see, we have spent ample time down here. It's time to start adding some blue dots as we approach this halving. It's time to start increasing. This has been a very, very, very beaten down market. The price action has been very, very weak for Bitcoin. But all things move in cycles, unless of course this thing is dead, which I personally do not believe it is. The MVRVZ score. Every time we get down into this range, people say it's over. It's never coming back. It's dead. They lose interest. And now we are right down in that range. Things in this market change incredibly quickly, and I do not expect anything different this time around. Here is a scenario that I have not outlined. If you've been watching the channel, you'll know I am a proponent of seeing a peak in 2023 followed by a 3-year decline. Of course, if that becomes invalidated, we can switch stance and maybe look for a right translated cycle, meaning the peak will come in 2025 as per usual, and then we will spend the final year coming down as we always have done historically. However, it's important as a trader and an investor to be aware and open to all possible outcomes. This is one I had not thought of. What if we get a triple top? What if when we get this parabolic rise, which is most probably coming over the coming months, what if when we get this, it forms a triple top and then comes back to 20k? Would you be prepared for that? Remember, it's always important to prepare for all outcomes. So hopping into the charts, the dollar, this kind of makes sense. It didn't really make sense yesterday that we were going to get a counter bounce from absolutely nowhere. It seems like we need to find some more significant level than where we're at now. So this blue trend line makes perfect sense to me. I would kind of expect to see we get a touch of this before any kind of bounce, but also it is absolutely expected to get a counter trend bounce before resuming down because of the amount of downside that we've seen from the dollar. As I also partially alluded to earlier, the yields, are these getting rejected at resistance? Is this about to turn around and roll over? In which case we could expect risk to come on quite quickly. The same is true of the US 2-year yield, which still refuses to believe the Fed is going to honor its word and continue to hike rates. Altcoins getting a little bit more bullish. My MATIC position getting a little bit closer back to break even. So again, not super interested in that. I'm laser focused on Bitcoin. We need to see what happens over the coming days. Do we get the drop into the cycle low? Do we get the break above the blue line? When we do, we will have our answer and it will be game time for cryptocurrencies. Ethereum showing reasonable relative strength. I don't like this coin. I don't like this chain at all. I don't like the fact that the majority of the blocks are OFAC compliant and censored by the US Treasury Department. This coin has, in my opinion, zero fundamentals anymore. Does that mean it won't pump? Not necessarily. Does that mean I won't trade it if it breaks out and if we get a decent cycle low or a decent entry on Bitcoin? No, not at all. I'm happy to trade this thing unbiasedly just based on the charts alone. But do I hold any of this for long term? Absolutely not. I will, however, be open to trading this if we can get some nice price action over the next few days out of Bitcoin. So stay tuned if you want to see that. Silver, as you can see, continues to push up. So does gold. Not much to say about that apart from trying to continue to ride this trade for as much as we can get and not jump out too early. I'm noticing the miners, okay? The miners for gold, this is the senior miners. This is the junior miners, again, looking kind of good. And here is the silver miners. Seems to me that there's a good chance that we could be starting an uptrend for all of these. Is it time to get some allocation to these? That remains to be seen. For now, we'll be looking to see if we can get a breakout above these. Some positions I'm thinking about taking are these sorts of ones from silver. These are the silver miners. It will look quite similar for the gold miners. Again, we could break out above this box, then something like this could certainly be the play. And the same is true of the senior miners. So is this something that could be coming from me over the next couple of days? Quite possibly. As always, I will wait for the price action to let me know what I want to do. FTSE 100, look, doesn't really speak to bear market rally at this point. It is a mere couple of percent away from the highs. It's just 1.3% from these local highs back here. So again, doesn't really speak to bear market rally as far as I can tell. I'm long, I'm strong, I continue to push this trade and we'll see what we can get. VIX still refusing to spike. So we are hedged just in case we go full meltdown, full crash mode. But again, it doesn't really look like one of these big volatility events, does it? It doesn't really look like any of these big VIX explosions just yet. So things can change and things can change quickly, but they haven't quite changed yet. Dow Jones position still kind of hanging on to this line. So lose this red line or get stopped out. I think I'll use the stop as the trigger for the short. But if I get stopped out of this position, I'll flip short and I will be targeting something like the bottom of this range at the least. So if things are going to get very ugly very quickly, then the VIX should spike. So the hedge will perform. The short here will more than cover the one or two stop outs that we'll have in the process. So that is the plan for how I'm handling that. In terms of the S&P 500, it looks like undeniably we got a failed cycle. Whether we continue to chop around and then drop into this cycle low and go, or whether we have some kind of pump up first and then drop into a cycle low and go, I think either way, that cycle low, wherever it forms, is going to be the next time I am interested in entertaining long positions for the S&P 500. So in summary, I really think things are starting to shape up a bit. I really think Bitcoin has a very good chance. Whether it has to put in another low or not, I still think it has a very, very good chance of starting a bull market within the next 8 to 9 days. I still think there's a very good chance we've already seen the bear market low. I had been saying consistently on this channel for many, many months that I didn't think people would get their 10k, 12k, 13k, even 14k Bitcoin predictions. They're still on the table. Those people that are waiting and sidelined, ready to buy 13, 14k, 12k, you know, anything can happen. It certainly could happen. But I also have been saying for a long time that I think those trades are crowded. And whenever trades are crowded, the market typically moves to the opposite direction. So I think we're close. We'll certainly know in around a week's time what the next steps are. Until then, all the best from me. Take care. Cheers. Bye.